everyone, I am back with another video. Can't believe I'm doing this, but now that I have a whole 20 subscribers, 21. I thought I would talk about something that I was just randomly reflecting on today because we have a lot of time right now to reflect on random things. I was thinking about when I moved to New York in 2007, and I kept hearing this term as things were falling into place for me. I kept hearing this term, lucky girl, like what a lucky girl, this happened for you. And it used to annoy me because I felt like it was discrediting all the not only hard work but smart work that I put into it, being extremely resourceful, and also, this sounds kind of cheesy, but really talking to the universe and God and whatever is out there. I'm more spiritual than I am religious, so I definitely believe in manifesting your destiny, and I was so determined at that time. Just like I knew I had to live in New York when I had visited there. I think probably like the first time I had visited, I knew I had to live there at some point. And it got to a point where I was sitting at my job in a cubicle in the most depressing office, and I had the opportunity to go stay with a cousin in Albany for a few weeks. If I had a couple of interviews here and there, I would take a train into New York City, which was about a 2-hour train ride. And it got to the point where I realized if I'm gonna do this, like I have to take the plunge and actually move to New York, which I had no clue how I was gonna do that. I was in my 20s, didn't have any money. My parents maybe gave me like $1,000, and I had like a little bit saved up, I think. But really nothing especially relevant in New York when it comes to money. But I, again, being resourceful, contacted the one family member that I knew who lived, deep in Queens. She was totally cool with me staying with her and her family until I got my feet on the ground, but ended up actually thinking she was doing me a favor, God bless her heart, but moved me into a studio because one of her friends, a lawyer, was traveling or something and had like this empty studio. I was like, great, I have my own apartment until I get my feet on the ground. And it ended up being a roach infested situation. It was probably my first time that I ever even saw a cockroach, but I'll get into that another time. I called everyone I knew, I mean everyone, and told them my plan and asked them if they knew anybody in New York who might be looking for somebody, entry level in the fashion industry. And it was actually a good friend whose brother's girlfriend connected me with somebody, and this is somebody from Toronto, who, I spoke with, met with, and ended up introducing me to the vice president of this company. It was a showroom. I sat in the vice president's office, just so determined, like I said, and he looked at me, was like, you have absolutely no relevant experience. But he said, I can see the hunger in your eyes. And at that point, I was so desperate. And he said, I think I can groom you into a great sales rep. He asked me what my salary expectation was, and I was, just trying to be humble, and he laughed at the number that I gave him and said I would never last a day in New York, so he gave me like $10,000 more and hired me that day. I was actually on the train back to Queens, and when I got off the train, a long train ride because it was the last stop in Flushing, I had a text message from him, and he was like, you got the job, come back. I literally hopped on the train, went right back, and then started that following Monday. Anyway, my point is, there's so much more that went into my whole journey, and it's so frustrating to hear people say it's luck. I don't really believe in luck, period. I believe in blessings that are earned through, whether it's hard work, being resourceful, and just really desiring whatever it is that you want, and desiring it on a level where it's like you're your mind and your life will not take no for an answer. Um, there's so much more to that journey in New York and beyond, and I'm not even near the level that I want to be in my career, unless of course I pop out a couple kids and just decide to be like stay-at-home mom. Also, one thing to note, I had to basically become my own immigration lawyer because it is impossible to even come from Canada and just to work in the US. I mean, there's different visas out there, but some of them are so difficult to get, especially for someone who's starting out. So, I really had to dig and find loopholes and find a way to legally do this. And I did it. Eventually, I got an amazing lawyer. Shout out to Richard Newman. He's great. I went through a lot since that time. I mean, it wasn't all just like a fairy tale once I got that job. I got laid off a year later, 2008, when the recession hit, and literally everybody got let go from their jobs. Here I am, like, I don't even know how I'm gonna be able to stay in the country. Please excuse this loud helicopter or whatever it is. There's always helicopters down here. And even in that time, I figured out a way. There was a company that I wanted to work with. There was no position, but I kind of got my foot in the door and um, decided to pitch being an intern for that time being at a very, very like minimal wage. And they brought me on, eventually ended up hiring me full time and paid for my visa sponsorship. So again, I kept hearing lucky girl, and I'm like, nope, that was me willing to start at the bottom. And, even at this point, I mean, I'm in my 30s, and if I really wanted to do something, I would not be beneath interning somewhere. Like, if I wanted to learn something completely new, never beneath me. There's other ways to pay the bills in the meantime. It's kind of like free school. So, or, where you're actually maybe getting paid something and it's like school. So why not? Anyway, I hope that kind of maybe motivated some of you out there, or if you have any questions for me, let me know. Thank you for listening. And again, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying at home. Until next time.